Rosilda ma'am, are you there? Ma'am, we can hear you. Please, you can speak. I think there is a network problem again. So yes, our chief guest for today, Professor Florencia ma'am. She's from Philippines. She has got extensive experience in research and teaching. And it is so unfortunate that she was not able to join us live today, but she has managed to send a video of her presentation. And I request all of you to be patient enough to have a look at her presentation. And you can also put in your queries. You can send them if at all you have any queries. You can save them for later, because in the afternoon session, she will be joining us. So this is her presentation for you. Now I'm going to share the screen. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Hello there. I deem a great privilege to have this wonderful opportunity of addressing such an overwhelming group of learned professors, research scholars, students, and friends. The topic of this webinar is very well timed and gives us all a renewed opportunity to hone our reading skills as well as our interpretive abilities. Catastrophic effects of global adversities and therapeutic power of literature. Now let us dissect and understand each of these words individually. Any catastrophe will lead us to an adversity, a hardship, a difficult or unpleasant situation, causing an effect that is as adverse as the cause itself. What are the biggest adversities the world has seen? Have we not come a long way as a race, witnessing one calamity after another? Have we not managed to overcome our tests? Have they not made us become stronger? To name a few, natural disasters like flood, cyclone, earthquake, tsunami, drought and famine have killed millions of people down the ages. Epidemics and pandemics like plague, cholera, smallpox, flu, and the most recent and deadly one, COVID-19, have wiped away several thousands of lives from the face of this earth. And to make these matters worse, man has become a superpower with enormous intelligence and more enormous greed for power and acquisition that he ends up killing his own men in the name of nationalism, ideology, religion, and so on. The innumerable terror attacks, explosions, wars, and accidents have massacred more number of people than anybody can possibly imagine. Here are some of the visuals to let us know the impact of such disasters in our lives. The Yellow River flood was a devastating flood on the Yellow River, Huanghe in China. It occurred in September 1887 and killed some 900,000 people. The Chaliza famine of 1783 to 1784 in the Indian subcontinent followed usual El Niño events that began in 1780 and caused droughts throughout the region. The famine affected many parts of North India. It is thought that 11 million people have died in the two famines. The Somalia East Africa famine and drought. It is between July 2011 and mid-2012. A severe drought affected the entire East African region. The drought caused a severe flood crisis and is said to be the worst in 60 years. The Dust Bowl was a natural disaster that devastated the Midwest in the 1930s. It was the most drought in North America in 1,000 years. Unsustainable farming practices worsened the drought's effect, killing the crops that kept the soil in place. The 1965 plague of London killed an estimated 100,000 people, almost quarter of London's population in 18 months. The plague was caused by the Yersinia pestis bacterium, which is usually transmitted through the bite of an infected rat flea. This 1918 influenza pandemic was the most severe pandemic in recent history. It spread worldwide during 1918 to 1919. It is estimated that about 500 million people, or 1/3 of the world's population, became infected of the virus. The number of deaths was estimated to be at least 50 million worldwide, with about 675,000 occurring in the United States. Yellow fever, or American plague, breaks out in Philadelphia, one of the most severe in the United States. The death toll from a yellow fever epidemic hits 100 and ended 5,000 deaths. COVID-19 pandemic is, of course, the defining global health crisis of our time. Since last year, the virus has spread in Asia. The virus has spread to every continent except Antarctica. The pandemic is moving like a wave, one that may yet crash on those less able to cope. World War I, also known as the First World War or the Great War, was a global war that lasted from 1914 to 1918, described as the war to end all wars. The total number of military and civilian casualties in World War I were about 40 million, and about 23 million wounded military personnel, making it among the deadliest conflicts in human history. World War II was a global war that lasted from 1939 to 1945. It was the deadliest military conflict in history. An estimated total of 70 to 95 million people perished. During the World War II, on August 6, 1945, an American B-29 bomber dropped the world's first deployed atomic bomb over the Japanese city of Hiroshima and wiped out 90% of the city and immediately killed 80,000 people. Tens of thousands more would later die of radiation exposure. 3 days later, a second B-29 bomb dropped another a bomb on Nagasaki, killing an estimated 40,000 people. September 11 attacks, a series of airline hijackings and suicide attacks committed in 2001 by 19 militants associated with Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda against targets in the United States. The attacks resulted in 2,177 fatalities, over 25,000 injuries. The Bhopal gas tragedy was a gas leak incident on the night of December 2 to 3, 1984 in India. It is considered to be the world's worst industrial disaster. Over 500,000 people were exposed to methyl isocyanate gas. All these natural disasters, and there are more, were quite devastating and claim many lives. If you've experienced any one of this, it can be quite frightening. They just show us how destructive Mother Nature can be. They can claim lives. Even the people who survive are damaged, both physically and mentally. The physical part heals with the passage of time. It's the mental part which is difficult to overcome. Similarly, pandemics and epidemics have always had a devastating effect on humanity. As humans have spread across the world so many infectious diseases, even in this modern era, outbreaks are nearly constant. Though not every outbreak reaches pandemic level as COVID-19 has. In many ancient societies, people believe that the spirits and gods inflicted disease and destruction upon those that deserved their wrath. This unscientific perception often led to disastrous responses that resulted in the death of thousands, if not millions. From small hunting and gathering tribes to the metropolis, humanity's reliance on one another has also sparked opportunities for disease to spread. Despite the persistence of disease and pandemics throughout history, there's one consistent trend over time: a gradual reduction in the death rate. Healthcare improvements and understanding the factors that incubate pandemics have been great tools in alleviating their sway. But what is more disturbing is that apart from these destructive forces, human race struggles to outsmart the dark forces that lies within itself. Mahatma Gandhi once asked, "What difference does it make to the dead, the orphans, and the homeless, whether the mass destruction is wrought under the name of totalitarianism or in the holy name of liberty or democracy?" Wars or attacks for any cause cannot bring about anything good. Humans have destroyed each other mindlessly, following their own egoistic, whimsical minds, and sometimes havoc wreaks in the name of accidents. J.K. Chesterton remarked, "Literature is a luxury. Fiction is a necessity. Stories breathe life into our existence. They make miseries bearable." There have several writings, fictional and unfictional, as poetry, drama, fiction, not only in English, but also in all the languages of the world, that record the first-hand experiences of people who were actually then and there, who had undergone some tragedy, some trauma, some agony, some irrevocable damage. They voice out their emotions with flesh and blood in their writings and do a tremendous service to humanity by making us recount our blessings. I have just upon enlisted a very few touching ones here for your perusal and would recommend them for reading. I will explain the books in which war has been the background and the pivotal force behind the storytelling. All Quiet on the Western Front is a novel by Erich Remarque, a German veteran of World War I. The book describes the German soldiers' extreme physical and mental stress during the war and the detachment from civilian life felt by many of the soldiers upon returning home from the front. Slaughterhouse-Five, or The Children's Crusade, A Duty Dance with Death, is a science fiction-infused anti-war novel by Vonnegut, first published in 1969. It follows the life and experiences of Billy Pilgrim, from his early years to his time as an American soldier and Chaplin's assistant during World War II, to the post-war years, with Billy occasionally traveling through time itself. The text centers on Billy's capture by the German army and his survival of the Allied firebombing of Dresden as a prisoner of war, an experience which Vonnegut himself lived through as an American serviceman. The work has been called an example of unmatched moral clarity and one of the most enduring anti-war novels of all time. The Things They Carried is a collection of linked short stories by American novelist Tim O'Brien about a platoon of American soldiers fighting on the ground in the Vietnam War. His third book about the war. It is based upon his experiences as a soldier in the 23rd Infantry Division. O'Brien generally refrains from political debate and discourse regarding the Vietnam War. He was dismayed that people in his hometown seemed to have so little understanding of the war and its world. It was, in part, a response to what he considered ignorance that he wrote The Things They Carried. The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas is a 2006 Holocaust novel by Irish novelist John Boyne. Much like the process he undertakes when writing most of his novels, Boyne has said that he wrote the entire first draft in 2.5 days without sleeping much, but also that he was quite a serious student of the Holocaust for years before the idea for the novel even came to him. The book has received mixed criticism, with positive reviews praising the novel as a moral tale, while negative reviews attack the book's historical inaccuracies and the damage it may cause to people's education about the Holocaust. As of December 5, 2016, the novel has sold more than 7 million copies around the world. In both 2007 and 2008, it was the best-selling book of the year in Spain, and it reached number 1 on the New York Times bestseller list. The book was adapted in 2008 as a film of the same name, as well as a ballet in 2017. When the Emperor Was Divine is a historical fiction novel written by American author Julie Otsuka about a Japanese-American family sent to an internment camp in the Utah Desert during World War II. The novel, loosely based on the wartime experiences of Otsuka's mother's family, is written through the perspective of 4 family members, detailing their eviction from California and their time in camp. It is Otsuka's debut novel. A Thousand Splendid Sun is a 2007 novel by Afghan-American author Khaled Hosseini. It is his second following his best-selling 23 debut, The Kite Runner. Miriam is an illegitimate child and suffers from both the stigma surrounding her birth along with the abuse she faces throughout her marriage. Lila, born a generation later, is comparatively privileged during her youth until their lives intersect, and she is also forced to accept a marriage proposal from Rashid, Miriam's husband. Codenamed Verity is a young adult historical fiction novel by Elizabeth Wein that was published in 2012. It focuses on the friendship between 2 young British women, one English and one Scottish, in World War II. A spy captured by the Nazis in German-occupied France and the pilot who brought her there. It was named a Michael Friends Honor Book in 2013 and shortlisted for the Carnegie Medal. As the internationally recognized positive psychology coach Lisa Cypers Kamen states, war stories teach us the ability to exude confidence when faced with calamity or death. Of course, engaging in war takes a lot of courage. War stories teach us the essence of sacrifice in life. Servicemen and women usually risk their own lives with the aim of allowing civilians to live their lives in peace. War stories teach us to appreciate the simple things we take for granted, such as the ability to see and have meaningful conversations with our loved ones every day, or perhaps peacefully walk outside without fear of being targeted by bombs or guns. War stories teach us the importance of exercising our free will. Similarly, war teaches us to keep our hopes alive. War teaches us the value of the human spirit, to always believe in ourselves and in our intrinsic ability to heal from any psychological wounds we may suffer. I would like to conclude my presentation saying that today's breaking news may become useless tomorrow. But as Ezra Pound rightly pointed out, literature is news that stays news. Stories impart resilience. They help in developing our integrity. They teach us composure. They always end up giving us some hope. In short, they make us rich. Thank you, one and all, for the opportunity.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
I hope that it was a wonderful presentation, and all of us came to know about very beautiful, very well written novels based on war. And now I have a few presentations which are already sent to me. I will play some of them due to want of time.
Good day. My name is Susanna Corey.
I request.
Good day. My name is Susanna Corey. I'm a student of Stella Maris College. My paper is titled An Unnatural Disaster, a reading of Kofi Awanor's The Sea Eats the Land at Home. At first glance, this poem seems to be a disaster poem, but this is a colonial interpretation. The deeper meaning emerges in sharp relief when the poem is thrust upon a post-colonial framework. The sea and the land reveal themselves as metaphors for the West and Africa respectively, and the flood, which symbolizes Western colonialism and imperialism, is no longer perceived as a natural but an unnatural disaster. The poet writes that the sea is in town. In other words, Africa was invaded by the West. The West's ideals were superimposed on Africa's, and Africa became saturated with Western thought. The native ideological framework had been dismantled as the flood had drowned the ancestors and the gods of the land. But this destruction did not limit itself to the ideological realm. Edward Said says, imperialism is an act of geographical violence. This is exemplified when the sea destroys the cement walls and carries away the fowls, the cooking pots, and the ladles. Anderson Smith writes that Western culture has a long history of viewing nature as fallen and evil, a threat rather than an ally that must be overcome through divine or theological intervention. The Western view of African people was no different. Awanor wipes the divine gloss off the intervention and exposes it for what it was, a disaster that rent violently ideology, institutions, and identity. Frantz Fanon holds that for a colonized people, the most essential value is land as it provides bread and dignity. Awanor writes that the cooking places were invaded and that cooking pots were carried away, thereby reinforcing the fact that colonialism is an enterprise that achieves the
Oh, that was all we have with Susanna Correa. And please wait, I will resume.
Good morning. My presentation will be on Therapeutic Rhythms in Latin American Literature, a study with special reference to Living to Tell the Tale by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Recently, studies on the concept of psychoanalysis have gained wide momentum. The Latin American history is a classic example to showcase numerous wars, massacres, and harsh memories under cruel dictators. Garcia, in his memoir, Living to Tell the Tale, talks of how constantly the memories of the happy past torments him in particular and the people of his nation on the whole. The text almost becomes a vehicle to vent out his emotions so that it gives him a healing effect. The native land of the writer, Colombia, once had a luminous past. With the passage of time, the resources of the land paved way for Spanish invasions. With their advent, the land undergoes tremendous changes. Slowly, Spanish culture and Christianity played a dominant role in the lives of the indigenous people. The writer records these events in his memoir in a very detailed manner. In Living to Tell the Tale, Garcia shares the collective experience of the people of the land. His grandfather was a much revered hero of the Thousand Days War. He would often tell them stories of how the land suffered under the hands of various rulers at different junctures. One such incident happens to be the Banana Massacre and La Violencia. Both these events topple the history of the nation. Numerous men of the land run to different zones in order to save themselves. Thus, the indigenous population of Latin America got disintegrated. People almost become trauma survivors due to the bitterness of the past. Garcia has developed a very strong feeling that it was always the interference of United States into the affairs of Latin America that brought economic backwardness. Cruel punishments and death sentence was given to anyone who failed to obey the orders of the government. The rulers almost became dictators. There was press censorship throughout the nation and the people were kept uninformed. The writer begins the memoir when he travels with his mother after several years to sell his ancestral house. He happens to meet several people who he met years back and felt pathetic for their present conditions. He understands that almost all of them suffer from trauma caused by various wars and upheavals. When he stepped into the village, the people believed that it was someone from United States and are scared of the changes that he would bring. Such was the traumatic effect created on the minds of the people. On his return, the writer feels that the land still remains to be a land of silence. To conclude, this is how throughout the memoir the writer speaks in volumes about the fragmented history of a nation that once led a very happy life. He also discovers that his mother also had the very same feeling for the country. Writing, in a way, creates a soothing effect to the tormented mindset of the writer. Thus, narration here becomes a therapy which possesses the power to heal the wounded soul. It provides with a chance to let out all suppressed emotions. Thank you.
That was Divya Prabha, Assistant Professor, SDNB Vaishnav College for Women, Chennai. Now we have a presentation by Sivaranjani, Assistant Professor of English, Karpagam Academy of Higher Education, Coimbatore.
Good morning, everybody. This is Sivaranjani, working as an Assistant Professor in the Department of English, Karpagam Academy of Higher Education, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. I would like to present my paper on the topic Pandemics and Epidemics in Literature. Literature is said to be a faithful mirror of society and life of humans. Even though it is not reflecting and registering the facts as it is, with some certain amount of exaggeration, it doesn't fail to record the historical events which happens in the human society. As far as this pandemics and epidemics are concerned, it is not new to the human society. This was there, but different varieties of epidemics occurred in the human history. This was there even before 10,000 years ago, which means even before people started to live in community as a group. Only after the invention of agriculture, people started to live in society, which brought a big amount of chances and possibilities for easy spread of contagious diseases. After that, then there were this kind of disease and spread and loss of human lives, and there were very notable diseases recorded in the society. I would like to shed light on few things. First, this one, a very novel kind of disease occurred during a war between Athenians and Spartans. People with good health, suddenly they got overheated in their head and they started to feel redness in their tongue, and they started to feel they died. And it lasted for a long time, and so many lives have been lost during this time. Then also the war was not stopped. After that, there was another very, very disastrous disease. It happened in the history of Roman Empire. That changed the complete history of Roman civilization. After this particular disease, it was a kind of smallpox, and during this there were so many deaths and so many disasters, so many trauma occurred in the life of Romans. And due to this trauma, people started to embrace the Christian faith, and it changed the society. And even these kind of similar diseases can be seen throughout the history, like Black Death, the plague, Spanish flu, etc., up to this novel coronavirus. And this is not something These kind of diseases are conveying one fact to the people. Even a modern society with so much of technical advancements in medical and everything, are people are vulnerable to this kind of micro. People are vulnerable to these kind of things. But in those days, the spread was less because of the less transportation. But today, the mean of transportation is very vast and big. That provides a big chance for the spread of worldwide level. Thank you for the opportunity. My paper is dealing with this.
So that was it. I think we can resume the session. The participants, if you have any questions, if you have any inputs to be given, you can unmute and you can start speaking. The floor is now open for discussion. Yes, do we have any participants who want to share your ideas?
Hi everyone, this is Kasturi Suresh Kumar from Chennai.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Well, I hope you remember me, ma'am. Yesterday I sent my article. But
Yes, I do remember, but you were not able to send your video.
But due to some
Okay,
technical issues,
can you present your paper now?
yes, of course, ma'am. It will be very fortunate for me.
Okay, please do introduce yourself and you can go ahead with your presentation.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you.
If you can enable your video, please. If you can enable your video.
Enable my video. Yeah, sure.
Yes, you can start your
Hi
presentation.
everyone, this is Kasturi Suresh Kumar, Assistant Professor from the Department of English, Sri Kanyaka Parameshwari College for Women, Chennai. So here goes my article. So I don't have any slides to put forth.
That's all right. That's all right.
Well, the title of my paper is Maneuvering the Power of Humanism as a Healing Tool. As a healing tool in the Hollywood disaster movie 2012. So the abstract of the article goes this way. This volatile situation is not new to the world. People from the past have encountered more deadly diseases and pandemics than us. In every way, humanism was the single powerful tool to combat the confrontations. This article channelizes the readers to comprehend the power of humanism during crises and catastrophes, which exclusively yields as it rings the battleground against the deadly pessimism. This paper narrows down to substantiate humanism as a healing tool in the Hollywood movie 2012. So, without any further ado, we'll just delve into the paper. Blood has been harder to dam back than water. Just when we think we have it impounded safe, behind new barrier walls, it breaks away in some slaughter. We choose to say it as it is let loose by the devil. I quote and unquote Robert Frost from the poem The Flood. This 21st century is apparently an intriguing Pandora, generously unboxing its contents to the subjects of the world who, unbeknown of what to anticipate the next moment despite reaching the pinnacle of technological development. The above quoted lines of Frost reflects the ignorance of people in front of the
I
undeniable
can
power of nature.
intervene.
And
Can you be a little slower?
okay, yeah. And the above quoted lines of Frost reflects the ignorance of people in front of the undeniable power of nature, and they're close to nothingness in response to the flood devouring their city. It has to be noted that this poem was written in the year 1927, river flood, and the trauma encountered by these people are beyond human expressions. The very umbrella term natural disaster intends a huge ordeal to the species of the world, irrespective of the centuries we live in. The same inevitable trauma follows even in the current century while coping with the deadly pandemic virus COVID-19. An important factor to consider is that we cannot shield ourselves from the nature's wrath when it intends to create a catastrophic environment, but we should always overcome with a determination to rise and shine again. From time immemorial, literature has grounded the reflections and phases of life, giving it a means and a chance of expression, representation, retaliation, and confrontation. It has served as a powerful therapeutical tool irrespective of the times and situation, subsequently embracing different genres like feminism, colonialism, trauma literature, Holocaust, psychoanalysis, wars, apocalypse, etc. The subjugation from diverse levels is the basic tool for the birth of the above-mentioned genres. Every dimension of these literatures without the help of the hopeful spark that ignited
Oh,
uh,
is there a
can
problem
you
on your side? Yeah, there is a problem. We're not able to hear you very clearly.
now can you hear me now?
Yeah. At times it gets breaking, so it's okay. You can try to conclude your paper.
Yeah. So this paper exclusively focuses on the power of humanism as a healing tool in the Hollywood disaster movie 2012, directed by Remarque and Erich in the year 2009. The protagonist of the movie, Hemsky, is a geologist by profession but an ardent reader by passion. This man makes a phenomenal discovery with his friends tell him that the Earth is going to face an unbelievable disaster. So simultaneously, we're also introduced to a man called Jackson Curtis, a struggling California-based science fiction writer, where the entire paper revolves around this fictional book, which this Curtis have ever written. Mr. Curtis authored the book Fable Atlantis, a science-fi novel. Though not a real one in nature, it creates a huge impact in the movie. Through Mr. Hemsley, who boldly advocates humanity, paraphrasing the content of the book in a crucial situation when an impactful tsunami was about to hit the life-saving constructed arcs in China. So you may actually find a brief part of the novel in my article. You can listen to my article later. So I just get the conclusion of it. Mr. Hamsey states that to be human means is to care for each other. Civilization means to work together to create a better life. Can we really stand and watch people die? And we also, to add on, he also quotes from the book he lately read. That is this book, Fable Atlantis, which Mr. Curtis written. That the moment we stop fighting for each other, that's the moment we lose our humanity. I quote and unquote. At this juncture, the humanism is manifested and remarkably influenced other world leaders to open the arts gates for people to enter in. We could actually relate this part of humanism, which works in the form of all frontline fighters against corona. Doctors, nurses, policemen, lab technicians, vendors, drivers, and the list is endless. The selfless mind is a birthplace of true humanism. And through this pandemic, we realized the true nature of all behaviors in human form. Nevertheless, it is it is vital to note that literature not only bumps at traumatic effects, but also finds solution at times of adversaries. Not only the self-help literature, but every work in literature suits and heals the scars and makes us believe that this shadow pass, spreading the definite optimistic aura around us. The article objects the vitality of the words which builds and sustains the human community under this one great shelter earth. I quote and unquote a lot of the desert where I'm lost without imaginary or magic, trying to make power out of hatred and destruction, trying to heal. These immortal words of Lord from the poem Power highly substantiates the invincible power of healing while remoting ourselves from the huge catastrophe. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. That was an extensive research paper that you have done. And
Thank you so much.
we have got very good comments for your paper, but you were very, very fast. That was also one of the repeated comments that we have been receiving. So maybe you may have to slow down a little bit. The technology is not as fast as you are. Okay. Thank you, Kasturi. You can mute yourself. You can mute yourself. I request all the participants to mute their phones. We are hearing all sorts of disturbing noises from the back. It will be ideal even if you switch off your video, unless you want to speak something, unless you want to participate actively by sharing your comments. So anybody who wants to speak something now, again, I am letting the floor open for you.
Yes, hello.
Yes, it's Professor Sai Prakash.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Yeah, please introduce yourself and you can go ahead.
My name is Mr. S. Sai Prakash. I am working as assistant professor, Department of English, Board Arts and Science College in Mailam, Villupuram district.
Okay, sir.
Whether the audible is not clear, madam, whether the madam present the paper, I think
I think the problem was on her end.
Yes.
Yeah, she was supposed to have sent a paper to us. She sent the paper, but she was not able to do the recording. That's the reason why I asked her to do it right away. Maybe she was not prepared for that.
Okay, madam.
So please bear with us. I am asking this on behalf of Kasturi, the presenter.
Okay, madam.
So anything else you want to share in this forum, sir?
Nothing, madam. Whether we can hear something means we can raise the question, madam. We never to hear anything about that, madam. So that only, madam.
Okay, so nothing was audible to you at all from the beginning.
Now they will be audible, madam.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you can mute and you can also hide your video, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else who wants to share? You can volunteer. If we do not have, I think there are a lot of participants who also registered as paper presenters, but they were not able to send us the video of their presentations. If they are available here in the panelists, in the members list here, please volunteer and you can present your paper right away. Even if you're not okay showing your video, it is okay if you can just read it for us. Anybody like that? Okay, so I think we may have to end this session. And yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Florencia. Am I audible to you?
Others, please be muted. Oh my God. 1 second. Yes, ma'am. Now you can unmute and speak.
Yeah. Yes. Madam Florencia, in her presentation, has spoken about several novels which are dealing with this disaster.
Ma'am, once again you've muted. Please unmute and speak.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Now I am clear to you.
Yes,
that's what Madam Florencia in her presentation has talked about several novels regarding the disasters and the adversities. My suggestion to you is if somebody is familiar with these novels, if they have read the novel, they can share their ideas, what they have read. Yes, shall we?
Yes, ma'am, that's a wonderful suggestion. Even I was thinking of it.
Yes. Many would have read 1,000 Splendid Suns.
1,000 Splendid Suns is a much popular novel. And we also know that it can be an open discussion forum. Please make use of this forum. Anybody you want to speak, even if it is not listed in the presentation, if you have any other novel in your mind, please feel free to share so that it is a fruitful session. You can unmute your mics and you can start speaking. So once again, we have Sai Prakash sir.
Yes, madam.
You want to say something?
Nothing, madam. Nothing, madam. Nothing.
Okay, all of you are passive listeners then.
Not passive listeners. Whether we can hear the message means we can have the idea.
Okay.
Hello.
Whether we have the
Someone
Yes.
is online.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
This is Dr. Madhavi from Yeluru, Dr. Aishwarya.
Oh, ma'am,
And,
thanks a lot for joining
how are you
us.
doing? It's wonderful to be back to EHC. That I'm an alma
Welcome back, ma'am. Welcome back.
It's my alma mater.
Sujata is also online.
Wonderful to talk to Dr. Sujata too. I congratulate you on this wonderful choice of topic, dears. It is wonderful, really. And
Thanks
right
a
now
lot,
we have many Hollywood films, many sci-fi books, all
Yes.
on calamities. And I'm
Yes,
sure
ma'am.
it's such a genre that we can really make it a kind of a platform for many students to come out with some wonderful ideas and writing skills too. It is such a wonderful topic that I think it has been introduced in the time of Homer, where you have natural calamities as part of his writings, and Shakespeare too. Most of his plays, Tempest, or you take some of the plays like where he brings in shipwrecks as calamities
Yes, ma'am.
and
Yes.
bringing across, joining people together or separating people together. The calamity is such a thrilling kind of an experience, and also brings in the tragedy of human life, especially now more so today in the time of COVID-19. Wonderful, wonderful choice of speaker, especially the earlier speaker. I really could not get her name. She gave a wonderful presentation on the different.
Her name is Florencia.
Her name is
Florencia?
Professor Florencia.
Her
She
name
was
is Florencia.
really good.
Yeah,
She was
she's
really good. She's
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
good. And she brought in all the books on calamities. Wonderful display of her scholarliness, and especially the second speaker. The girl, she was quite fast. She has got such good expression. I think Miss Aishwarya, you should give her a certificate on that.
Yes,
She's
yes.
done a good job.
Definitely, ma'am.
So anyway, it was a wonderful experience. Well, only I was a little bit sad for the first speaker. We were not able to connect with her properly, but I'm sure she will send
Fortunately,
her.
we had a backup plan. She had already recorded her video and sent us in advance.
Oh,
Because
yes.
she knew that she might have she might have such a problem.
Okay, can we have a link to her video?
Definitely, ma'am. After the
Okay,
session's
okay.
over, both the sessions are over, we are going to send them all to you.
Very good,
In
very good.
case
So
there are any-
congratulations from Andhra Pradesh to all of you. All the
Madhavi,
best.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Sujata. All the best. I really wanted to say hi to you in this
Yeah.
on this platform.
Right,
So
right.
congratulations to the
We're so happy.
EHC English department. Kudos to all of you.
Oh, thanks a lot, ma'am.
Okay,
Thanks a
okay.
lot.
I'll give the others a chance to speak. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yes, anyone else? There are such a lot of comments coming up. Priyanka MK says there are novels like Hunger Games, Divergent, and she's talking about how Darwin's theory of survival can be applied. If Priyanka is available now, you are free to speak. Priyanka, are you there? Okay, so do we have any more discussions, or shall we wind up the session?
Okay.
Okay then, ma'am, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, we have somebody. Who's that?
This is Dr. Anuradha from Andhra Pradesh. That is
Anuradha.
Rajmundry.
Okay, how have you named? Because I'm not able to see you in the participants list. What is your name in the participants list so that I can pin yours?
Anuradha.
Anuradha only, but I'm not able to find you. It's fine. You can speak, ma'am. You're heard. You're audible.
Yes, first of all, I congratulate you. Why? Because so many problems you faced, yet you continued the program with that spirit.
That is
Really,
because of the cooperation that you all have given. You've been so patient enough, and all the people of our department are also working from different places.
yes.
So that is why. Yeah, thanks a lot, ma'am. You can
I
enable
think
your video. You will be visible to everyone. You can enable your video and speak.
okay. One. Okay. Have you seen me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we are able to see
Yes.
you now.
Okay. So you have proved that if opportunities are given, women can do miracles.
Oh,
Today I
yes.
have come like this. Yes.
That's really
Congratulations.
heartening to know, ma'am. That's really
Yes.
heartening, and it's encouraging.
You are very young, dynamic, and energetic, right? And the topic is very interesting. Unfortunately, we couldn't join in the morning session
No, we
because
had
of the
a
problem
problem
with
with
the
the morning
Zoom.
session. That's why we had to resume it a little later.
Yes.
But we are really happy because we have such a lot of enthusiastic participants in the afternoon, and we are going to have another session later.
Yes.
We hope sincerely that both the resource persons join us then.
Madam,
I really want all the participants to come up with one idea or the other for discussion so that it's more fruitful.
what ma'am in the second session told is right. This pandemic has totally changed the scenario and it taught us values of life.
Yes.
Her ma'am's voice is very touching. Somehow I have touched by her words. Thank you. Thank you for sharing her video.
Yeah, we will
Thank you
send the
for sharing.
link to the video also, ma'am, to all the participants. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Good day.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else who wants to speak? Any other participants who wants to share their ideas, their viewpoints about their experience with the COVID lockdown? Okay, ma'am. Sujata, ma'am? Sujata, ma'am, are you there?
Yeah, I'm. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. If any
Shall-
of the participants are still willing, shall we find out?
Yeah, I'm asking them, but there
This
is.
forum is for an open discussion.
So maybe they will come back later in the afternoon. Yes, there's somebody who wants to speak.
Yeah, again, Kasturi from Chennai.
Kasturi, we're a little slower this time.
Since I don't have a paper near me, I'll be slower.
Okay, then. Thank you. You can continue. You can go ahead.
Yeah, initially, when this presentation was like popping up, I thought of doing it on night, on Ellie Wiesel's night, where I wanted to speak about the man-made disaster rather than natural disaster that we are facing right now.
Okay.
So it is also a part to be discussed. So, that's why I just
Yeah, you
wanted
can
to.
go ahead. You can speak, throw a light upon what you have already thought of.
What I thought before.
Yeah, no, you were you said that you were supposed to present a paper on that work. So you,
Yes.
you definitely might have had a wonderful idea, insight into that book also. So you can go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Basically, when I discussed this with my friend, she said it's a worn-out novel, and yet you wanted to present it again and again. So I thought of like doing it on 2012.
I think I would like to recall the quote given by our resource person. Only literature is news that stays news. as long as there is a new reader, every book is a new book.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could have still worked on it, and I think you could have given better insights. So you shouldn't be dissuaded by such comments. I feel this is just my thing.
At times they influence you.
So yeah, you want to say something about the novel?
No, I just wanted to make a comment that if there are presenters in future, they can work on night. As basically we have the trilogy of Eddie Wiesel's Night. So that'd be wonderful, to go through in future. That's
Okay. Thanks a lot, Kasturi.
yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Any more participants who want to speak? Okay, then shall we call it a session? We are not calling it a day yet because we have one other session to go. So maybe people can take a break and come back.
I think by 4 o'clock, Professor Oba may join us.
Yes. So we just have a gap of 15 minutes. Once again, if you're not able to join here through the YouTube, Zoom link that's given, please join us with the YouTube link that's forwarded. So I think we will end this meeting here, ma'am. Shall we?
We shall end this meeting.
Okay. Thanks a lot, people. Be there for the second session. Thank you.
Aishwarya.
Yes, ma'am.
Aishwarya, it's good that we have gone for the Zoom meet. It's good that we have gone for the Zoom meeting now.
Yes, ma'am. Originally, we had planned the webinar portal, and it didn't work this way. And we were not. That's the reason why we were not able to share the audio with you people, even though I was scrolling the whole thing in front of your eyes. I mean, for
great way to meet old friends, ma. Great way to meet old friends.
Yes, ma'am.
Aishwarya.
Yes,
Aishwarya, they're asking for time. What time it will start?
It will start at the session exactly will start at 4 o'clock, but you can log in by 3:45 in case you want to ensure your room here in Zoom. If you are going to be really active, you can be here, because if you're going to be passive, I think YouTube is a better place for you. You can let people who want to speak here. So just a humble request. If you're very active, you prefer Zoom. Thanks a lot. Ma'am, shall we end the meeting?
Yes, we wind up now.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks a lot.